Johnny Clayton was ready to pack it in. Not just the tournaments, not just the grind, the whole sport. And you wouldn't have blamed him. 2024 had been brutal. A string of early exits, a sudden dip in form, and the sense that the darting world was moving on without him. After a glittering 2021 that saw him lift Premier League silverware and rocket to the top tier of world darts, Clayton found himself fading into the background. And in a sport where the headlines chase hype, his name was slipping out of the spotlight. But then came a podcast, a casual, relaxed interview where Clayton opened up more than fans were expecting. The Ferret didn't just reflect on his recent slump, he dropped a bombshell. He'd seriously considered walking away. And, in his words, it was his wife who both cost him thousands and made his comeback possible. Now that's not a line you hear every day, but behind it is a story of frustration, fame, family, and the fight to stay relevant in a sport that moves at lightning pace. The moment that sparked everything, walk-on music. Nathan Aspinall's iconic use of Mr. Brightside had become a fan favourite, igniting arenas and getting under opponents' skin. Johnny wanted that same buzz, so he asked his wife, could he borrow the song? Her answer was immediate and brutal. No chance. Clayton laughed about it in the interview, but you could hear the sting because this wasn't just about a song. It was about identity, momentum, and trying to rediscover the swagger he'd lost. And let's be honest, he needed something. Clayton's slump wasn't just about missed doubles or bad luck. Insiders say he'd been battling confidence issues for over a year. The joy seemed gone. He stopped practicing as much. Sponsors started to get nervous. And according to one manager who spoke off the record, Johnny even floated the idea of stepping away for an extended break. But this is Johnny Clayton we're talking about. The quiet Welshman who built his career the hard way. No handouts, no hype machine, just grit and timing. And it wasn't the first time he'd had to claw his way back. Long before his Premier League breakout, Clayton had been grinding the tour with almost no fanfare. His early matches were played in half-empty venues. He wasn't getting the TV slots. No walk-on anthem was going to save him then. He earned respect with his darts, and that respect he knew was slipping. So why the sudden openness? Why admit that things had gotten so bad behind the scenes? Because Johnny knows something most players forget. Fans love honesty, and when you've got nothing left to prove, you can start speaking freely. What he revealed shocked even close followers. According to sources, the tension at home over darts had been growing. The travel, the pressure, the stress of having your performance critiqued by millions. Clayton's wife, Ellen, had reportedly urged him to think about balance, what life after darts might look like. But Johnny wasn't ready to let go, not yet. So when he jokingly asked if he could steal Aspinall's walk-on music to hype himself up, her refusal hit a nerve. She's probably saved me from making a fool of myself, he admitted. But here's the twist. That rejection, it lit a fire. Within weeks, Clayton had revamped his training. People around him noticed the difference, the weight loss, the sharper throws, the old swagger slowly returning. He wasn't chasing the crowd anymore, he was chasing form. And it showed. In the most recent Pro Tour events, Johnny's been quietly climbing again. No headlines, no theatrics, just clean darts. And if you ask him, he'll credit one person, his wife. Because while she might have cost him thousands in potential walk-on hype, she gave him something more valuable, perspective. She reminded me why I started, he said. But there's more to this story. In private circles, there's been chatter about locker room drama. Some say Clayton's confidence dip came after a heated exchange with a fellow pro. The name floated, Joe Cullen. Apparently, during a backstage practice session, words were exchanged after a particularly tense match. One witness said it got personal. Neither player has confirmed the fallout, but fans noticed that the two haven't been seen chatting at events since. Is it coincidence? Maybe. But darts is a game of psychology, and sometimes the biggest battles happen off the stage. Other whispers that Clayton nearly walked away in 2023 following an alleged clash with a high-profile sponsor who doubted his marketability. One insider claims that sponsor reps felt Clayton was too plain compared to the flashier personalities rising through the ranks. They wanted louder outfits, TikTok clips, more content. Johnny refused. "I'm here to throw darts," he reportedly said. That stubbornness may have cost him some media shine, but it's exactly what makes him a cult hero to fans. The working man's thrower. The bloke who doesn't posture or play up, just turns up and does damage. And that fan loyalty, it's what pulled him through. Darts forums, once filled with criticism, have turned into rallying zones. Comments like, "Clayton still got it," and "Real recognise real" dominate his match threads. Even pundits are starting to shift. Wayne Mardle recently said he's not done, not by a long shot. There's even talk of Johnny being approached to mentor a young rising Welsh talent next season. Someone who reminds insiders of a young Clayton. No nonsense, gritty and all darts. But make no mistake, Clayton's not ready to hand over the torch. The ferret is back. And he's not chasing headlines, he's creating them. Expect to see him make a deep run in one of the majors this year, if not go all the way. Behind the quiet demeanour is a player with nothing to lose and everything to prove, and sometimes that's the most dangerous kind. What adds another layer to this is that some insiders are whispering about potential Team Wales tension. After Gerwyn Price's rollercoaster season and injury doubts, there were hints that Clayton might be positioned as a future World Cup captain. However, Price's dominant presence within Welsh darts has made that transition complicated. Some say there's mutual respect. Others say there's friction. The truth? Probably somewhere in between. But if Clayton keeps climbing and Price continues to wobble, that conversation will only grow louder. Backstage, it's said that Clayton has become more vocal, not in front of cameras, but in players' lounges, with management, even with PDC officials. He's no longer just the nice guy, he's the guy with scars, and those scars have made him fearless. And if that's not enough, there's a juicy rumour floating around that a documentary crew is quietly tracking Clayton for a potential Darts Underdog mini-series. Nothing confirmed, but if it's true, the timing couldn't be better. His career arc right now is perfect television. Meanwhile, one source close to the practice rooms has claimed Clayton recently turned down a lucrative exhibition tour in the Far East, choosing instead to focus on sharpening his form in ranking events. It's the kind of old-school decision that reminds people of a bygone era of darts: less flash, more fight. And get this. Another insider says the PDC itself has quietly earmarked Clayton as a potential ambassador for a new mental health initiative being rolled out in 2026. If true, it shows how seriously the higher-ups are taking his story of struggle and comeback. He could become the face of resilience in modern darts. Let us know what you think. Was Clayton's openness a stroke of genius, or should players keep their struggles behind closed doors? And what about the walk-on music debate? Does a song really make that much difference? Drop a comment below, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more inside access, locker room drama, and the stories the cameras don't always catch. Because in darts, the throw is only half the battle, and Johnny Clayton, he's not done fighting yet.